girl, you and this cane.
What was that?
I said, girl, you and this cane. It's got
Raising cane.
a little area for her hand so the hand slips into the cane, but I'll just put the rubber band back on.
Okay,
Because
now we're recording.
Ziggy will steal
Hey.
her cane.
Hey everyone. This is Renee Rentmeester. What was my name again? I'm the creator and executive producer of the Cooking Without Looking TV show and podcast. And today, so far, we're here with Jessica Clay, the blind baker. Jessica!
Hi, everyone.
And we've got so many things to talk about, so many high-level, monumental things, such as Blind Barbie.
Ta-da!
Oh, yay! Tell us about your Blind Barbie, Jessica.
Well, this is my blind Barbie. She's been renamed Retina George.
Where did you get that name?
Have you seen the movie Mean Girls?
No, I refuse to see anything with Mean Girls in it. So no,
Oh, okay.
tell me anyway. Tell me. I know it's supposed to be funny, so.
Well, the mean girl in that movie, her name is Regina George. So I named Barbie Retina, like retina.
Oh, it's scientific even.
It is. So I figured blind Barbie should be Retina George.
There
So
you
here she
go.
is.
There she is. Tell us a little bit about her. Where did you get her and how much and all that sort of stuff first?
Okay, well, I ordered my Barbie on Amazon and Amazon Prime brought her to me in 2 days.
Wow.
She was $10.99,
that is cheap.
which is a screaming deal for a Barbie.
Yeah.
But I'm also told they carry her at Target and Walmart. But being visually impaired, it's not so easy for me to get to those stores on my own. So I can do Amazon by myself. And yeah, so she comes with her skirt is textured. The box that she came in has instructions on the bottom in Braille. However, I don't read Braille yet, so that doesn't apply to me. She does come with her walking cane that slips on her hand.
Right.
And she has sunglasses on.
Now, for our sighted friends, why would blind Barbie have sunglasses?
To protect your eyes.
There you go.
Yep, that's what I'm told. Even though I have prescription lenses on and I can't see, I still need to protect my eyes from the sun.
Well, now it's sort of interesting because at one point I think oftentimes blind people, now this is back in the day, they would put sunglasses on so that people didn't see how their eyes looked. Is that correct? That was sort of a thought back then.
Yes. A lot of times, not personally, but a lot of times blind people don't focus. They're kind of looking off. And if you notice Barbie's gaze, it's not like a regular Barbie with the almond-shaped eyes. She's kind of looking upward.
Oh, actually, I sort of have the same gaze when I'm thinking. I thought she was just a relative.
So did I. I have that same look on my face. Well, usually when I'm talking to other people, I'm like, oh.
Well, I had this one client once, and she was introducing me to another client, and when I'm thinking of an idea, I literally gaze up in the air at the ceiling, right? So I don't know, for some reason that's what I do. I think that way. And one client told the other one, "Don't worry, if she's looking at the ceiling, she's thinking."
Well, I think I've told you that's what throws people off about me is that when somebody is talking to me, I look right at them because I just follow to where the sound is going.
Sure.
And I guess they expect me to be, looking at the ceiling or looking at the floor. I don't know. And they go, well, how can you be blind? You're looking right at me. And I say, yeah, I'm not deaf. I can hear you. But you're looking right at me. And like, I don't know. Do you do what you will with that?
Well, tell everyone, how much do you see?
I am completely blind. I can see some shadows and I can see bright lights. Like, for example, there's a window off to my right and I can see light coming through the window. I can see if there is a light on above me. I can't see it clearly, but I can tell that there's a light on.
So you can see, like you say, you can see shadows.
Yeah. And that's a common misconception for people who are sighted. They think that if you're blind, it means that you're in pitch black, which I would say 98% of the time is not the case.
Right, right.
Some kind of shadow or something or other going on. We're not all just in the pitch black. I'm sure in some cases they are.
Yeah, I read once that it was like 3% of the people are totally blind. Most people, like you say, aren't totally blind.
Right.
But so what are your thoughts about, I've seen online people just like going both ways on Blind Barbie. Like, how can you be against Blind Barbie? Except like they need blind Ken too, but we'll move on from there. But what are your thoughts, your philosophies about Blind Barbie?
I think she's great. I mean, I also have a friend, we met online and he's a blind travel agent and his fiance has a little girl. And I told him about Blind Barbie. I believe she's 2.5 or 3. So she's right in that sweet spot. Going to start liking Barbie. And I said, hey, maybe you guys want to grab her one of these Barbies because when you guys move in and start cohabitating together, it'll be, your learning tools and your navigation tools won't be so foreign to her. She can correlate those with her Barbie,
Right.
So
is the little girl blind? Is the little girl blind or is the mom blind?
No, her soon-to-be stepdad is blind.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's my friend, so his fiance is sighted. So I just thought, hey, if the little girl, if you guys wanted to get her that Barbie, it would kind of make it more normal. I mean, I know little kids are going to have questions, but it would make it not so foreign,
Right.
So, I mean, hey, they have Barbie for everything else. They have plus size Barbie. They have
plus size. I could have used plus size Barbie. Thank you. I was thinking the little boys in school were calling me fat, so plus size Barbie would have helped. What?
So, if they're gonna be all inclusive, why not?
Yeah. Well, I saw a couple of comments online, like, because this is the age of offense, and so we will go down in history, the age of offense. There was one lady who she's blind, and she said, well, what's the use of Blind Barbie? It's not gonna get me a job. Well, unless you work at Mattel,
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought, well, gosh, that just seems sort of sad to me.
Did regular Barbie get you a job? I mean, I don't understand the argument on that, but okay.
Employment agency Barbie.
Yeah, employment agency Barbie.
Well, it's a funny thing. There was one group of women who I especially remember. There was a group of parents who they were all parents of blind children, And it was a church group up in Minnesota that we went to visit, and we taught them how to cook, or we worked with the kids cooking, right? And but then afterwards, I spoke to this group of parents, and these parents were just crying and so sad, what's going to happen to my child and this and that. And like, well, you have to have a positive attitude. And I think a Blind Barbie helps to present that. And they actually get to see, someone who is similar to them, except their knees bend. So, but and it's good for other kids too. I think sighted kids too. Like when I was little, I was taught if I saw a blind person or someone in a wheelchair, well, don't stare at them. So then it made you look away like really fast. And now, it's people I think are more open, with blindness, with people in wheelchairs, things like that. It just helps you be more open. It's like, why should you hide?
Yeah. And honestly, from my experience, kids don't care.
Right.
They're like, throw them in there, mix them up. We don't care,
It's the adults who care.
Yeah, it's the adults that put the stigma on it, but kids don't care,
Right.
My husband has told me stories of, taking the youth group down to Mexico, and, kids from the California Bay Area, they don't speak a word of Spanish, and they're down there with the local kids, and, playing needs no language,
Right.
play soccer, everything. They don't need a language, just play, and they're having a good time. And same with a blind child and a sighted child, they don't care.
No.
It's the adults that have the problem.
I know, it always is the adults with the problem. They hold on to it. Like I see people talking, now that they're adults and they're our age, and they'll say, oh, I didn't see anyone who looked like me. Well, you know what? I didn't see anyone who looked like me either. That's kind of weird. So it was just, okay, I'm weird, I learned to accept it and moved on. But I don't, like you say, kids don't really sit there noticing things like that.
No, it's learned, it's taught. And if you don't teach them, then it doesn't bother them.
Right. Right, exactly. And this was something I saw during the week too. I think you've probably seen this online where people, there are blind people who talk, and they have this whole thing about, like, they don't like when sighted people touch them a certain way, or just try and help them, because like sometimes sighted people are a little awkward and they just want to help, but they don't know what they're doing. And sometimes the blind people seem a little like, oh, how dare they do this to me, instead of like explaining to the person like, well, okay, don't do that, or don't grab me, 'cause it frightens the crap out of me.
It goes both ways. Yeah. I tell people, my brother-in-law is a great example. He'll tell me when he's coming, like if he's gonna give me a hug, because he is a big guy, and it would be kind of, my husband's a big guy too, and they're both over 6 feet tall, so it would be kind of scary, even if I was sighted, to see this guy coming towards me and not knowing what his intentions are. I would just be hitting a big wall, a body. But I think it's also up to the person that is visually impaired to tell people. I tell people, if I need your help, I will ask you for help, but don't grab me and pull me a certain way, because you will hurt me. You can hurt me. And, I'm not the smallest person in the world, so if I fall, you're going down with me.
Oh, that happened to me once. In the parking lot, there's Celia, who was like one of our first blind chefs on the show. Rest her soul. She passed, but she was, she had a girth, and and we were both walking and when I'm walking with a person who's blind, she was holding on to my arm. And when I'm walking, I totally think about that person and I forget what I'm doing really, honestly, because I'm afraid of something happening to that person. So she was
Mhm.
holding on to me and we both weren't looking, walking through a parking lot. And we both tripped over those little parking thingamajiggers. I don't even know what they're called, like where you park your car, the little cement things, little
The
cement.
cement block? Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah. We both tripped and she fell on top of me and I couldn't get up. And there was, thank God for this man walking to the parking lot. Two women just like,
I'm laughing because I know you're okay, but
no, it was funny even at the time. And we were sort of like arms flailing all over the place. Like I can't move. And she couldn't move. And he came and he picked her up off of me. And that's amazing. It made me think, but like over the years, it took me a long time because what you do as a sighted person to another sighted person is very different.
Mhm.
From dealing with a blind person and like you say, I mean, even if I could see someone coming toward me wanting to hug me, I'm like, "What? What are you doing?"
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And it's just kind of up to you. Some sighted people aren't as vigilant as others, and they don't realize it and they don't understand. So I have to get into the habit of telling people I'm blind, or
Right.
meeting new people, holding out my hand and saying I'm blind or I'm visually impaired, and then it's kind of like, oh, okay, they get it. But
Yeah,
some people, there are people that just don't pay attention and they're not going to get it right away.
right. I know. I'm like a hugger, and we had this one man on our show, and he was in the Iraq War, and he lost
Mm.
both eyes, roadside bomb. And most people have never been in a TV station, so I wanted him to feel comfortable. I do this to everyone they walk in, and I give them a hug. Oh, well, this poor man, I didn't think about it, and he has like he was gonna have pain from that bomb they literally put him back together again piece by piece, and he was gonna have the horrible pain his whole.
Oh,
And I didn't know when I hugged him, I gave him even more pain. And I was like, oh my, he just screamed. I'm like, oh my God, what did I just do? Oh no, speaking of people just popping in. Run. But yeah, you just don't think about it. Well, what are your thoughts? Up there he is.
Sorry, our iPad is like 10%, so I was just hitting a button for her.
Oh, no, no problem. But so basically you just tell people ahead of time.
um, I try to get into the habit of it if it's a new person, that I haven't met. Um, and then the other thing is, when I'll tell people that I'm visually impaired or I am blind, the thing that also drives me up the wall is that they talk to Brian and ask questions to Brian. For those of you that don't know, Brian is my husband, the gentleman popping in and out of here. They'll talk to him and ask him questions. Well, what does she want? Well, what does she like? And he goes, I don't know, ask her. And I'll be standing right next to him. And it's like, okay, the eyes don't work. The brain, sharp, sharp as a tack.
Yeah.
And it really infuriates me. It's like he tells them she has no problem talking for herself. I mean, go ahead. Best of luck. But it's something to be vigilant about. I mean, we can hear you just fine. We can talk for ourselves just fine.
Right.
Just because my eyes don't work, it did not affect the rest of my brain. Well, I'm gonna digress with that one. But anyway.
But that's happened to me before too. I've taken someone who was blind, grocery shopping, And I remember one specific time, we were in the Apple section and, not the computer, the fruit. And, this young kid walks up to me, goes, I asked it, well, I asked first, I asked, like, hey, where are the Macintosh or whatever? And then Celia said something, and then he looks at me and he starts telling me, I go, no, she talks, she heard you. We should just talk to her. But yeah, I do it with a little bit of humor and a little bit of snark, but but you
Yeah.
know, if you're not lucky enough to be around people who don't see, and I consider myself lucky because it's a whole group of people that you have to learn about, you know, like every other, you know, group of people. I just you get to know more. So
Oh yeah.
what's a recent
I
recipe? Oh, I'm sorry. What were you gonna say?
I guess we just make people nervous. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I did one thing that like, it was like, I'm not sure if it was a bad or good thing, but I think it was a good thing. I was taking this other lady, it was Thanksgiving, and she wanted to get something at a store. And she had just started going blind and she wasn't admitting to herself that she was blind. And
Uh-huh.
she started crossing the street. And you know, on Thanksgiving, sometimes people drive like maniacs.
Oh
And
yeah.
this car coming for her, like straight and really, really fast. Like I can still see it in my head. I literally dove for her, grabbed her by the shoulders and the arm, and I flung her to the other side of the street. And she not so that she fell, but just to get her out of the way of that car. And both of us, because then we were both in the way of that car. But
Yeah.
it was wrong. That's not what you should do. But it was like all I could think of at the moment to get her out of the way of the car, you know, and she wasn't accepting the blindness. So she was just, you know, going across and she wasn't noticing that there was this car coming for her.
Wow. That is scary.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It really is. But anyway, if you know, it's always good to look at the motive of the person, you know, if they're trying to do good.
Yeah, it can be scary when you're learning to get out there by yourself because with that white cane, you are vulnerable. I
He
mean,
didn't
it
even
is,
have a white cane.
yeah. But with the white cane, it's a telltale sign, you know, mostly everybody knows what it is. You know, kids don't. And so, you know, if I get questions, I'll say, oh, it's like my magic cane, you know, because my eyes don't work. And they're like, oh, okay. But you know, adults and older people, it's kind of a telltale sign. You know, they see you walking with that white cane, and it is a sign of vulnerability. You know, but if you can't, if you, in my opinion, if you let fear take over, you're never going to do anything. You know,
That's true.
so you, yeah, you're vulnerable, but you got to live. You know, life is for the living, so get out there.
That's right. That's right. And that's good advice for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So what have you been cooking lately? What's the latest creation?
What? Well, we had a heat spell over here in California. It was like close to 2 weeks where we were over the century mark, over 100 degrees. And so, yes, we have air conditioning in our house, but no, I wasn't turning on the oven. I was like, no, sorry, it's not happening. So I think the last thing that I baked was I was going to make zucchini bread. And then I went to take the zucchini out of the refrigerator and the zucchini had gone bad. So I had to pivot. I made kind of like a carrot bread. I did some shredded carrots and raisins and all the spices. So we did that. And then my husband, he brought home a cookie the other day that his coworker's little girl had made. And I'm not above complimenting another baker. I mean, I had to give this cookie a 10 out of 10. It was delicious.
Wow, what kind of
It
cookie?
was it was a called a monster cookie and just delicious. And so I looked up a recipe. So that's going to be my next project once I get baking. Probably next week, I'll make some monster cookies and then I'll post the recipe. But I mean, the texture on this was perfect. It was delicious.
Wow, that's amazing. How old is the little girl?
How old is she? 7? 7 or 8? 7 or 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I told him, hey, I go game recognized game, you know. So, but yeah, I gave it a 10 out of 10. He goes, wow, that's impressive.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, I know. It just takes cookies can be a little bit difficult, can't they?
Yeah, yeah, and you know, so when I looked at the recipe, there's a guy that I like to watch on YouTube because he not only goes through the recipe, but he tells you the amounts. Because a lot of times recipes online, they'll just run the ingredients across the screen. Well, that doesn't help me. I can't see it, you know? So he'll tell you, okay, you're going to need your 2 cups of flour, your teaspoon of salt, whatever it is. And he was explaining the sugar and how the cookie spreads depends on what kind of sugar you're putting into the cookie. And I went, oh, okay.
Oh, well then.
Yeah.
Oh,
So that made sense.
well, what's your tip for cookies? What do you have like a personal tip or tips?
If you want a personal tip for me for cookies is if you don't have dietary restrictions, I know we probably have vegans and vegetarians that may watch this, but butter,
No.
real butter. It's a cookie. It's supposed to be a treat. I know people don't come to me.
We don't want to hear your little things calling in.
Yeah, exactly. Just, do you know how bad that is? Yeah, it's a cookie. It's a treat, okay? And if your cookies spread a lot and you're using brown sugar, it's because of the moisture in your brown sugar, which is a good thing because the brown sugar is good for texture and chewiness and that little caramel flavor. But you can kind of divide out some of the brown sugar with regular white granulated sugar, and that helps it to hold its shape more if your cookies are spreading too much.
Okay, say that again. A little bit of white sugar and brown sugar.
White and brown. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
So if you had a recipe that called for 2 cups of brown sugar, you could do like 1.5 cups of the brown and then sub in the other 1/2 cup with white granulated. It helps with the structure so they don't spread as much.
oh wow. I've seen where they have a little bit of brown and a little bit of white, and I was always wondering what the purpose of that was.
Mm-hmm. To prevent it from spreading too much.
Ah, okay, okay.
Yeah. And the other thing too is with the texture of the cookie, if you kind of like it a little bit not doughy in the middle, but just done, scoop your cookies out onto your cookie sheet and throw them in the refrigerator for 15 to 20 minutes before you bake them off.
Oh, okay. So they're a little more chewy.
Yes.
Oh, those are my favorites. I love chewy cookies.
Yes. Well, yeah.
Chewy cookies.
Brian's a cookie dough aficionado. When I'm making cookies, you know, I have to set aside a couple of the cookie balls with the dough. And I know you're not supposed to eat raw cookie dough, but
oh, please,
we're
none
still
of us
alive. So
we have, I don't know where that came from because I think all of us ate raw cookie dough. And there must have been one person who died or something because now they've made a rule for it. But
somebody ruined it for us.
I'm a non-rule person. Yeah, I like the butter, and I'm sure nobody's eating sticks of butter. So a little bit of butter is not gonna kill you. Our whole family is still here. And it's just sort of funny how these rules come to be.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And I mean, I grew up that way too. You know, my mom's making a cake and she's letting me lick the spoon, you know?
We used to fight over it because there were three of us and we'd fight over who would get to lick the spoon and the beaters. And you know, it was like who got to lick those things. And now, you know, like, oh my God,
Yeah, oh, salmonella. Oh my gosh. It's like,
the baking police.
yeah, the baking police are gonna come and knock on my door.
Oh my gosh. Well, you guys are baseball aficionados, right? You guys go to a lot of games.
We do. Brian is a diehard Chicago Cubs fan. I am a diehard San Francisco Giants fan, and together we found a common ground with the Oakland A's. So we're always going to watch the A's. But we just love baseball in general.
Oh, that's cool. What about it do you like?
Um, well, a lot of people ask that too. You know, you're blind. You know,
Well, the part of that wasn't even in there for me. I just, you know, I was just wondering what you like about baseball. But
I like it because it's easy. It's easy to follow. I think it's fun, especially if you get to a really action-packed game.
Mhm.
I like the sound. My brother grew up playing Little League, so I was always going to uh, watch him play in his games. Even if my parents weren't home, I was allowed to walk a block to go to the baseball field to watch him by myself. And I just love the game. You know, I was very, very grateful and blessed to meet a man that loves the game more than I do. I mean, this guy is a walking ESPN. He literally is, but to somebody that is passionate about a sport that you like is just, it's unbeatable. We've had some great experiences.
Does Brian describe it for you when the game is on?
He does. He'll describe it when we're sitting there at a game. If I'm watching it on television, it's a little bit easier because they have the commentators.
Sure, sure.
And that makes it really easy. But when we're at a live game, he'll describe it to me, and then a lot of times I can tell what's happening by the crack of the bat. Like, uh-oh, you know, there it goes. It's gone, or oh, foul ball, you know.
It's coming
But
right for me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Our attendants where our seats are, they know that I'm visually impaired. So if he gets up and leaves to go to the restroom or go up top to get something, they'll keep an eye out for me, you know.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. And you know, the rules for baseball are easy. It's not like football where you need like a little football Bible next to you trying to figure out all the rules.
I'm a lost cause with football. He's tried to explain it to me. I don't get it. I mean, you might as well. Even when I was sighted, he would try to explain things to me, and you might as well be handing it to me in hieroglyphics because I don't get it. I'm like, I okay, touchdown, woo.
Well, you know, I was born and raised in Green Bay, and as such, you need to know all of the rules by the time you're 4 or 5. So
Go Bears!
He said, "Go Bears."
Bears. Oh no, you don't. Oh no, Brian. Don't start with me.
Well, it's really weird. The iPad just went black. I don't understand.
We're at 5%.
Oh, we're at 5%.
Oh, man. Well,
Been a diehard Bears fan since Super Bowl 20. So
well, you know, it's funny because like when there's playoffs and if the Packers aren't in, I root for the Bears or Minnesota, depending on who's in and we're not. So
I'll occasionally cheer for the Packers depending on who they're playing.
yeah,
Definitely not a Dallas Cowboys fan.
yeah. I'm like I keep it up into the Midwest, you know, all of us up there. Are you from Chicago?
I am not. I grew up in Salt Lake City. So
Oh, okay. Well, that's close.
So, so I'd either watch San Francisco or Denver, and I'm not a big fan of either one. So,
Okay.
but
Yeah, but no, that's pretty cool. I actually used to be when the Dallas Cowboys had the Dallas Cowgirls, the cheerleaders, I was a Packer cheerleader. But we weren't like as hot as the Dallas cheerleaders. We looked more like we looked like Catholic school cheerleaders.
but that's still very cool to be out there and
It was a lot of fun, you know. There were a couple of high kicks that I landed on my butt, but it was fun. You know, it was a lot of fun. People always think you get to talk to the players, but you don't, not at all. We would have been kicked off the team if we did.
yeah,
And you
I'm
know,
sure there was rules.
what was that?
I'm sure there was rules. No fraternizing with
No,
between the groups.
no fraternizing at all. It was so cold, we had like the heaters on the field, and then we had plastic pom-poms, and one time I was trying to warm my hands and forgot, and my pom-poms got smooshed together, they melted. It was like a lump of pom-pom, you know?
It was just a palm.
Exactly. But yeah, you know, football and baseball, you know, and then basketball is a lot easier too than football. Pretty much anything's easier than football to know the rules about.
Yeah. No, we have a lot of fun. Unfortunately, this is Oakland's last season because I'm sure those that follow baseball, they're going to be moving to Las Vegas. So,
I didn't know
Sacramento first, excuse me, state capital. So this is our last season at the Coliseum. So we're just trying to get to as many games as we can and, you know, drink it all in.
Oh man, that's
the
great.
Coliseum it's about 25 minutes from us. It's easy in, easy out. And yes, we have, you know, the city, we can go to the city, but it's a whole different ball of wax getting to that ballpark because it's right there on the waterfront. It's very busy, a lot of different demographics. So we're gonna miss Oakland when, you know, we don't go anymore.
Oh, of course, of course. Well, I wanted to end it with that story you told me the other day about the lady, you were helping the lady in the store.
Oh,
She didn't realize you were blind and you were helping her get her stuff in the store.
yeah, Brian ran off to get something, and a lot of times we'll go, okay, right here, I'll be right back. Okay. So I'm just standing there, and she goes, excuse me. She goes, do you know this store? And I said, yeah, because Brian he'll tell me, you know, when we're going down the aisles, okay, we're in chips and cookies, or we're in crackers, we're in canned goods. We're staying in the canned goods. And she goes, do you know where I could find olives? And I said, yeah, it's the next aisle up where the pickles and the salad dressings and all the condiments are. And she goes, oh, okay. I thought it would be here in canned goods. I'm like, nope.
Huh.
That's not where it is.
No.
The next one up is so yeah, she didn't realize I was blind. And, you know, I'm not going to tell her, well, you know, I'm blind and I just helped you.
I don't really feel like telling you.
Yeah, I don't want to make you uncomfortable, but so yeah, I helped her. She went next aisle and got her olives. So there you go.
Oh my God. Well, I know that you have to leave. You have an appointment, right?
Yes, ma'am. I got to get going here.
Okay, cool. So any final words for us for this weekend? To start the weekend off with you and Blind Barbie and Brian?
Me and Blind Barbie, we're not going to the club, you know. It's not that kind of weekend.
I just had this vision of you and Barbie walking into a club.
I know. I should just take her with me. Be like, hey. Yeah. Just get out there, do something a little different, get out of your comfort zone and have a good time.
Sounds good. You guys have a good time too. You have fun, okay? Thanks.
All right, Renee,
a
we'll
lot,
talk to you
Jessica.
soon.
Have a great one. Bye, Brian. See you
Bye,
guys.
everyone.